Hello, my name is Roland Waits, and the name of this video is Mercedes Ridiculous Formula One Car. Does anybody remember when Michael Schumacher was so angry about how bad the car was, he almost killed Rubens Barrichello as Barrichello was passing him? Do y'all remember that? I remember that. It was very embarrassing. Probably the darkest day of Michael Schumacher's Formula One career, because it was completely unnecessary, and it showed the depth of disrespect that Michael had for Rubens. But deeper into that was the fact that Michael had come back to the Formula One with a lot of promises from Mercedes about how good the car was, and the car was not good, and they were having all kinds of trouble competing. Michael wanted to dominate like he did at Ferrari, and it wasn't going to happen. Well, lo and behold, Mercedes gets involved in rewriting the rules, and we all know they did. And they rewrote the rules to fit a car that they had already developed, a hybrid car with a turbocharged V6. They had already developed the engine, and they had already developed these subset systems in the car that guaranteed they would win pretty much all the races they entered, because the rules were written in a way that the FIA engineers could not find the cheats in the car. When you're talking about the ECU, all the cheats in a Ferrari car, a majority of them are based in the hybrid system. And they always have been. I would not be surprised if that car is actually built with hidden batteries in the body of it that give it extra power to the hybrid systems, and that the hybrid system works 100% of the time that the car, it's available 100% of the time that the car is in operation. And guess what? In that hybrid system is integrated into that is traction control, is stability control, is anti-lock braking. Every daggone system you could put into the car is integrated outside the ECU, so the FIA can't find it, and integrated in the hybrid system. And we saw this when Lewis Hamilton this year, on bald tires, did a fastest lap. Like, what was it, 48 lap old tires? He does the fastest lap, and Mercedes is going, we can't believe this. We don't understand. They know what happened. Lewis got excited, and he violated team procedure, and he turned on the cheats full blast, and he got his fastest lap. And you know, people, you know, look, I don't hate Lewis Hamilton. Any Formula One driver wants to be in that car. Every one of them. And anyone who says they don't is a liar. It just happened to be that Lewis Hamilton got the call. And what about Valtteri Bottas? He drives the same car. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. Valtteri Bottas' car is not enabled with all the cheats that Lewis Hamilton's car has. And certainly not at the level that Lewis Hamilton's car has the cheats. The German Grand Prix was very entertaining, the rainy Grand Prix, because it showed just how uncompetitive that car could be if the traction parameters were not optimal. And also what happened when you put a bunch of water on the car. And that's where the problem was. The problem wasn't the traction with the tires. The problem was all the water on the body of the car. And that leads back to the hybrid system. And so, you know, you could put Robert Kubica in Lewis Hamilton's car with the settings that he has, and Robert Kubica could be world champion. And this is the way it's been for the last 6 years. So it's pretty damn sorry that Mercedes has to buy Formula One to win in the series. What does that say about the competitive ability of Mercedes engineers? What does that say about the ability of Mercedes to compete on a world marketplace, that they have to buy the series to win? And that's what they did. You know, before Bernie got out, he got his last big paycheck from Mercedes, and they changed the rules. And that's how it's been for the last 6 years. So, you know, I mean, we all know Lewis is going to be world champion this year. We know that Mercedes is going to win everything this year. It was rather funny that this last race, Mercedes engineers were so terrified that Lewis was showing how strong the car was. They said, well, the brakes are heating up, you need to slow down. And then Lewis comes out of the pits and bang, within 3 laps he's right on the back end of Verstappen, you know. I mean, they had to tell him to slow down numerous times during that race because the car is absolutely filled with stability control, anti-lock braking. Every electronic system cheat you can put in the car is in that car, and it's built around the ECU so that the FIA can't see it. Or who knows, maybe the FIA sees it, but they're just not going to talk about it because, you know, Mercedes is supposed to win everything. I mean, this is the saddest display of a manufacturer coming in and altering the rules to guarantee a victory that's ever been seen in the history of auto racing. And Mercedes is the one who did it. Mercedes was so insecure about coming back to racing and about being beat that they were willing to spend the money. Now, it's a great car. It's a great car. But that's why the other teams that have Mercedes engines can't touch it, because they don't have the hybrid cheat systems that's in that car. It's hilarious to watch when Lewis turns all the buttons on and he just walks away from everybody. I mean, he had 17 seconds on Verstappen when he passed him this last race. Bang, that quick. He just walked away from it. So, and it's been that way for 6 years. So anybody who talks about, oh, it's Lewis Hamilton, he's the greatest driver, no, it's not. The history of the last 6 years will be that Mercedes bought the series. They changed the regulations to fit a car that they wanted to have the regulations fit. They changed the rules so that nobody could compete against them. And they won all the races. I mean, the number of races that Lewis is winning is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's not Lewis Hamilton. It is that car. You put Lewis Hamilton into the car that Kimmy's driving, or into the car that, you know, any of the other drivers driving, he won't win. But, you know, I don't hate Lewis for it, you know. God bless him, you know. He got lucky. He got blessed. He got into the series. I'm going to make a video about Lewis Hamilton, about how Ron Dennis and Bernie Ecclestone needed to have one driver that they could put out in front of the world and say, see, we're not racist. But they only have one driver in the series like that. And strangely enough, he's at the top. Only one driver. Only one. So, very bizarre. But the bottom line is, like I said, Lewis has worked his butt off. He has fought and fought and fought, and he's made good business decisions. Mercedes, on the other hand, has been chicken shit, backstabbing cocksuckers. And that's what the legacy of Mercedes will be in Formula One when they leave it. It won't be that they won everything. It'll be that they bought the series, that they changed the rules so nobody else could compete, and they changed the rules to fit a car that they had. And Lewis Hamilton happened to blow out all the rules, all the records books, because he was driving a car that was basically illegal for 6 years, and the FIA never touched it. So that's all I got to say about this. I love Formula One as a concept, but it died I think it really died around the time that Ayrton Senna died. I think that once that happened, Bernie Ecclestone realized the value of corporate winning in auto racing, and that's why the thing about Ferrari, everybody talks about Ferrari. Well, I think Formula One owns most of the merchandising rights to Ferrari. So every time that Ferrari wins races, Formula One makes billions, not Ferrari. So that's why the big push is on to have Ferrari always at the top, because Formula One is banking money out of it, and then you have the other teams. You know, I'm actually very impressed with Red Bull. I know that Newey's a genius, and Verstappen's really fighting his balls off to get up there. But you know, it's a waste of time. And I had to laugh because they had such a great race in the German Grand Prix, the wet Grand Prix, and Formula One had to show how crooked they were. They went back to Kimi's team, and they found clutch settings in a wet race that they equated to traction control. Now look, Mercedes has had traction control for 6 years. They've had it in the hybrid system. They've had it for 6 years. You know, that's how Lewis Hamilton takes bald tires and stays on the track and does fastest laps. Now Valtteri Bottas will never do that. And you know, Nico, I have to tell you, Nico Rosberg, God bless you, man. They tried to set your ass up, and you wouldn't take it. They tried to make the thing about Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton just like Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, because they wanted to make money. And Nico Rosberg knew it. And Nico Rosberg said, look, I got my world championship and I'm out. And boy, did that piss people off. That pissed so many of the big players off. You should have heard the kind of comments that was coming out of the paddock from the Mercedes team and from Formula One upper-ups about Nico walking out. But Nico walked out with his head held high, and Lewis continued to drive the most crooked car in the field to win after win after win. So, more power to Lewis, but it's not Lewis Hamilton's skill doing it. It is Lewis Hamilton's skill at manipulating the most crooked car in the field. And that's what it is. I mean, like I said, you put any other driver in that car and they'll win the world championship. It's not Hamilton's skill. It's just a fact. And when this is all over, when this all blows over, and who knows what's going to happen with Formula One, because the Americans own it now, or my countrymen own it now, I'm very surprised at the squelching of all dissent and everything that talks about what I'm talking about, this ridiculous car that Mercedes is fielding in the field. It's hilarious. You know, and Lewis, God bless you, man. You just couldn't resist it, could you? You just couldn't resist to turn everything up. And listen, anybody else who's driving a car like that, you know, you want to do it. You want to rub it right in people's faces. You want to take that car and you want to turn everything up to 10. You want to say, hey guys, guess what? Toodles, bitches, I'm out of here. And he did that. He did that over and over again, and the engineers called it, your brakes are overheating, you got to slow down. Oh, this and that. Oh, we got to bring you in the pits early. Oh, you got to pit. Blah, blah, blah. Lewis has shown how absolutely overdog that Mercedes car has been for 6 years and continues to be. And Formula One is no longer and has not been a racing series since Mercedes bought the rules and stacked the deck in the car that they made. So let's watch this joke progress and enjoy it, because anybody who knows anything knows it's the car, and anybody who is driving the car that Lewis is driving would win the world championship. I salute you, Lewis Hamilton, the 2019 world champion of the Formula One Mercedes-Benz World Series. Toodles! Yeah, I did say World Series, didn't I?